Steve Harvey brought together a grieving mother and the woman living with her dead son's heart. When she let the mother listen to the heartbeat, miracles happened and proved that love never dies. It just finds a new way to beat. It was September 2020, and 52-year-old Linda Rodriguez from Phoenix had been living with a broken heart for 3 years, not metaphorically, but literally and figuratively. Her 16-year-old son Miguel had died in a motorcycle accident in 2017, and at the same time, her grief was compounded by her own diagnosis of end-stage heart failure. Miguel had been Linda's world. As a single mother who had raised him alone since he was 2, she had poured all her love and dreams into her bright, athletic, compassionate son. Miguel was a junior at Desert Vista High School, played varsity soccer, and volunteered at the local animal shelter every weekend because he wanted to become a veterinarian. On June 15, 2017, Miguel was riding his motorcycle home from soccer practice when a drunk driver ran a red light and struck him at full speed. The impact was devastating. Miguel suffered massive head trauma and was declared brain dead after 3 days on life support. In the darkest moment of her life, Linda made a decision that would save lives. Despite her overwhelming grief, she chose to honor Miguel's wish to be an organ donor. Miguel had registered as a donor on his 16th birthday, telling his mother, "If something ever happens to me, I want to help other people live." Miguel's organs saved 4 lives that day. His heart went to 45-year-old Jennifer Walsh in Chicago. His liver saved a 23-year-old college student in Denver. His kidneys gave life to a grandmother in Seattle and a teenager in Dallas. But Miguel's death sent Linda into a spiral of grief, so deep that her own heart began to fail. "I think I'm dying of a broken heart," Linda told her doctor 6 months after Miguel's death. "I can't eat, I can't sleep, and my chest hurts constantly." Tests revealed that Linda's grief and stress had triggered a severe form of cardiomyopathy. Her heart was literally failing from the emotional trauma of losing her son. Doctors gave her 2 years to live without a heart transplant. The irony was cruel and obvious. Linda's son had given his heart to save someone else's life, and now Linda needed someone else's heart to save hers. She was placed on the transplant waiting list, but as her condition worsened, her chances of surviving long enough to receive a new heart grew smaller each day. Meanwhile, 1,500 miles away in Chicago, Jennifer Walsh was living the best life she'd had in years, thanks to Miguel's heart. Jennifer had received Miguel's heart after living with congenital heart disease for over 2 decades. She had been on the transplant list for 4 years, slowly dying while waiting for a donor match. Miguel's heart had not just saved Jennifer's life. It had given her a completely new existence. She could walk upstairs without getting winded, play with her grandchildren, and return to work as a high school guidance counselor. She felt stronger and more energetic than she had since she was a teenager. But Jennifer carried a weight of gratitude and guilt that was almost overwhelming. She knew that her second chance at life had come at the cost of unimaginable grief for another family. She had written several letters to Miguel's family through the organ procurement organization, but she had never received a response. What Jennifer didn't know was that Linda had been too deep in her own grief and health crisis to respond to letters from organ recipients. Linda's sister Maria had collected all the correspondence, waiting for the day when Linda might be emotionally ready to read them. In February 2020, Linda finally received a heart transplant from a 32-year-old construction worker who had died in an accident. The surgery was successful, but Linda's recovery was complicated by depression and survivor's guilt. She felt like she had betrayed Miguel's memory by accepting another family's sacrifice to save her own life. During her recovery, Linda's sister Maria showed her the stack of letters from Miguel's organ recipients, including several from Jennifer Walsh. "Dear Linda," one of Jennifer's letters read, "I don't know if you'll ever read this, but I need you to know that your son's heart beats strong in my chest every day. I think about Miguel constantly, and I try to live in a way that honors his memory. Your son was a hero, and because of his gift, I get to hug my grandchildren and see my daughter graduate college next month." Linda broke down reading Jennifer's words. For the first time since Miguel's death, she felt a connection to something positive that had come from her loss. "I want to meet her," Linda told Maria. "I want to meet the woman who has Miguel's heart." Maria contacted the organ procurement organization to arrange a meeting, but the process was complicated by the fact that Linda lived in Phoenix and Jennifer lived in Chicago. That's when Maria remembered that Linda watched the Steve Harvey show every day. "What if we wrote to Steve Harvey?" Maria suggested. "He helps families all the time." Linda was hesitant about making their story public, but something about the idea felt right. Steve Harvey had always seemed genuine and caring, and Linda felt like he would understand the sacredness of what they were trying to do. Maria wrote a detailed letter to the Steve Harvey show, explaining Linda and Miguel's story, Jennifer's gratitude, and Linda's desire to meet the woman who carried her son's heart. "Mr. Harvey," Maria wrote, "my sister needs to hear her son's heartbeat again. She needs to know that his death wasn't meaningless, that his heart is still beating with love and purpose. Could you help bring them together?" 3 weeks later, Linda received a call from Janet Miller, a producer on the Steve Harvey show. "Linda, we were deeply moved by your story, and Mr. Harvey wants to help. Would you be willing to come on the show to talk about Miguel and organ donation?" Linda agreed, thinking it would just be an interview about the importance of organ donation and keeping Miguel's memory alive. 2 weeks later, Linda sat in the green room of the Steve Harvey show, wearing a necklace with Miguel's photo and carrying a folder of pictures from his life. She was nervous about talking publicly about her loss, but she wanted people to understand the gift that organ donation could be for both donor families and recipients. When Steve met with Linda before the taping, he could see both her grief and her strength. "Linda, I want you to know that what we're going to do today is about celebrating Miguel's life and the incredible gift he gave to others. I just want people to know what a special boy he was," Linda said. "And I want other families to consider organ donation if they ever face what I faced. They will. But Linda, I think today is going to be even more special than you expect." During the first part of the interview, Linda talked about Miguel, his dreams of becoming a veterinarian, his love of soccer, his volunteer work at the animal shelter. She showed photos and shared stories that brought Miguel to life for the audience. "Linda," Steve said, "tell us about the decision to donate Miguel's organs. It was the hardest decision I've ever made, but it was also the easiest." Miguel had talked about being an organ donor. He said he wanted to help people even after he was gone. "So even though my heart was breaking, I knew I had to honor his wish." "Do you know what happened to his organs?" "I know his organs saved 4 people. His heart, his liver, his kidneys. They're all still out there, giving other families more time with their loved ones." Steve leaned forward. "Have you ever met any of the recipients?" "No. But I've gotten letters. There's one woman, Jennifer, who received Miguel's heart. She's written me several times, and her letters they've been healing for me to read." "What did she say?" Linda pulled out one of Jennifer's letters and read, "She wrote that Miguel's heart beats strong in her chest, that she thinks about him every day, and that she's trying to live in a way that honors his memory." "How does that make you feel?" "It makes me feel like Miguel is still helping people, still making a difference in the world. Steve stood up. Linda, what would you say to Jennifer if she was here right now? I would thank her for taking such good care of Miguel's heart. I would tell her that knowing she's living a full life because of his gift helps heal my broken heart. Well, Linda, what if I told you that you don't have to imagine what you'd say to her? Linda looked confused. What do you mean? Jennifer Walsh is here. She flew from Chicago to meet you. She's been watching this interview from backstage, and she would very much like to meet the mother of the young man whose heart saved her life. Linda's hands flew to her mouth. She's here? Really? She's here. Jennifer, come on out. Jennifer Walsh walked onto the stage, and Linda stood up immediately. Jennifer was a petite woman with tears already streaming down her face, and she walked directly to Linda with her arms open. Their embrace lasted almost a full minute, while the audience gave them a standing ovation. When they finally separated, both women were sobbing. Linda, Jennifer said, I have been wanting to meet you for 3 years. I want you to know that Miguel saved my life in every way possible. You're taking care of his heart, Linda replied. That means everything to me. I think about him every day. I carry his picture in my wallet. I know he wanted to be a veterinarian, that he loved soccer, that he volunteered at an animal shelter. You know all that? I know everything about him that I can learn. I needed to know the young man whose heart gave me life. Steve handed both women tissues and gave them a moment to compose themselves. Jennifer, Steve said, tell Linda how Miguel's heart has changed your life. Linda, before Miguel's heart, I was dying. I couldn't walk across a room without getting winded. I couldn't play with my grandchildren. I thought I would never see my daughter get married or graduate from college. And now I hike. I travel. I work full-time as a guidance counselor, helping teenagers plan their futures. Miguel's heart didn't just save my life. It gave me a completely new life. Linda was crying again. That makes me so happy. Miguel would be so happy to know that. Linda, Jennifer said, there's something I want to offer you if you're comfortable with it. What? Would you like to listen to Miguel's heartbeat? Linda gasped. Can I do that? Jennifer nodded and pulled out a small device, a stethoscope she had brought specifically for this moment. My cardiologist gave me this to monitor my heart at home. You can use it to listen to Miguel's heart beating in my chest. Linda's hands were shaking as Jennifer helped her place the stethoscope earpieces in her ears. Jennifer guided Linda's hand to her chest, right over her heart. What happened next was one of the most powerful moments in television history. Linda heard it immediately. The strong, steady rhythm of Miguel's heart, still beating, still giving life, still full of love. Oh my God, Linda whispered, tears streaming down her face. That's my baby's heartbeat. The audience was completely silent, except for the sound of people crying. Steve was wiping tears from his eyes. Even the camera operators were struggling to keep their equipment steady. It's so strong, Linda said, her voice full of wonder. It sounds exactly like it did when he was little and would fall asleep on my chest. It beats for both of us now, Jennifer said. It beats with his love for you and my gratitude for the gift you gave me. Linda listened for several more minutes, her hand pressed to Jennifer's chest, reconnecting with her son in the most intimate way possible. Miguel, Linda whispered, as if speaking directly to her son. I can hear you, baby. I can hear that you're still here, still helping people. When Linda finally removed the stethoscope, she hugged Jennifer again. Thank you, she said. Thank you for letting me hear him again. Thank you for giving me life. Jennifer replied. Steve, who had been watching this sacred moment in respectful silence, finally spoke. Ladies, what you just shared is the most beautiful example of how love continues, even after death. Steve, Linda said, I lost my son, but hearing his heart beat in Jennifer's chest, it helps me understand that he's not really gone. He's still giving life, still spreading love. And Linda, Jennifer added, you didn't lose your son's heart. You shared it with me. We both get to love it now. 6 months later, Linda and Jennifer returned to the Steve Harvey Show for a follow-up that amazed everyone. They had become close friends, talking almost daily and visiting each other regularly. Linda, Steve said during the follow-up, how has meeting Jennifer changed your grief journey? Meeting Jennifer didn't take away my grief, but it transformed it. I still miss Miguel every day, but now I also celebrate him every day because I know his heart is out there, beating strong and giving Jennifer a full life. And Jennifer, how has knowing Linda affected you? Linda has become like a second mother to me, and knowing Miguel through her has made me even more grateful for this gift. I don't just carry his heart now, I carry his memory and his legacy. The most touching part of the follow-up was when they revealed that Linda had started volunteering with Jennifer at the high school where Jennifer worked as a guidance counselor. We talked to students about organ donation, about making good choices, about how precious life is, Linda explained. In a way, Miguel is still helping teenagers through both of us. Miguel wanted to help people, Jennifer added. Now he's helping them through his heart that beats in me and through his mother who shares his story with others. The organ donor episode became one of the most impactful in Steve Harvey Show history, generating thousands of new organ donor registrations and inspiring countless conversations about the gift of life. Steve kept a photo from that episode on his desk. The moment when Linda listened to Miguel's heartbeat in Jennifer's chest, it reminded him daily that love is the only force stronger than death, and that sometimes the most profound healing comes from the most unexpected connections. Linda and Jennifer taught me that death is not the end of love. Steve often says, love finds a way to keep beating, keep giving, keep healing. Miguel's heart saved Jennifer's life, but their meeting saved Linda's soul. If this incredible story of love, transcending death and the gift of organ donation moved you, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with someone who needs to know that love never truly dies. It just finds new ways to beat. Consider becoming an organ donor. You might be someone's miracle. Let us know in the comments if this story inspired you. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more amazing stories about love, loss, and the connections that heal our hearts.